Hello, everyone. I hope you guys had a wonderful day or making some really good trades. And let's dive right into the analysis here. So, looks like markets got pretty much a nice little update today, especially in the small caps. The small caps are surging. They're just rallying higher here, up another 1.65% today. They're on a tear, really. And right now, the SPY and the Qs aren't doing much. And the Qs have reversed off that gap fill level. We went a little bit above it and pulled back. And, this it looks like the semis are kind of in trouble here, not doing too much. Although NVDA is a different story, but we'll get to that. But right now, Qs aren't doing much. SPY isn't doing much. Dow Jones rallying back to pretty close to new all-time highs. And the IWM is still not near its all-time highs, but it'll get there eventually. So I mean, maybe not, maybe it will. I mean, we're in the longer-term sell area, so this is like the danger zone here. And same goes for the SPY. I think the SPY, the target was a little bit higher. This is possibly the 5 wave move up. I still have it as the 3 wave for some reason, but it's okay. I can update it. But right now, what we're focusing on is the short term that we're in at the moment, and what's going on. A lot I've seen. Checking Twitter, seeing a lot of people talk about how we got a bearish engulfing candle in July, a green candle that followed after, 2 up days, and then a massive sell-off. Right? And now people are comparing the same thing, right? We've been rallying and rallying and rallying, and we got this bearish engulfing green candle. We're gonna get a couple more up days, and then we're gonna get a massive crash. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen. It could. You're definitely losing momentum again on the SPY, starting to curl in. Money flow is not the greatest at the moment on the daily. However, the weekly is still very bullish, and the monthly is still bullish as well. So when the larger time frames have your support, massive, sell-offs aren't usually what happens. But again, we also had a bunch of a bunch of green money flow here, and it sold off too. So we'll have to see who's right, who's wrong. I like to be a little bit more optimistic right now. Although I do have a short on the small caps. Full disclosure, I want to be transparent. I do have a small short position right now on the small caps, and I'm short a couple of indices as well. But that's mostly like to hedge and to be just you guys need to be aware that there's potential for a lot of downside because there's lots of catalysts right now in the market, in my opinion, for a big pullback too. But we'll see, because I think it can continue to trend higher a little bit, a little bit higher before we get a pullback. But let's be patient with it, okay? Let's take a look at the VIX. So the VIX, even though we had a pretty nice update today, I would have expected the VIX to get hammered a little bit more. It was only down like 5%, which is back down to 19. I don't like how it's consolidating at these highs. That is a bearish sign to me. How the VIX is still at 19, still at 20, and the market is pushing new all-time highs. That is a pretty big warning sign, in my opinion. You have the yield surging higher, or actually the yields pulled back recently. Or did they? Yeah, they pulled back. We're just up in the after hours right now. So the yields pull back, and you got that bounce in TLT. And is it getting ready to another rally up, or are we going to pull back a little bit deeper? I think we need to pull back a little bit deeper in yields to go higher afterwards. But this would mean like we're going to get some inflationary policy soon. Maybe in November when the next president is elected. I don't know who's going to win. It's going to be an interesting decision from the United States people. What are you guys going to vote for, right? And that's going to have a huge impact on the market, in my opinion. NVIDIA, we'll dive into some individual names. NVIDIA right now is inside of this wave 3. So it can easily continue to rally higher. If this were to fail, though, like right now, we didn't make a new all-time high. We're very close to making a new all-time high. I believe the all-time high is 140.82, right? 140.76. Okay, pretty close. Just put that there. So that's your all-time high. If you are able to take this out, then you're going to be inside of this wave 3, and you can maybe easily reach the 160, 180 levels. If you can't do this, then you know what this is? This fifth wave has ended, and you're starting an impulse down. And this was a 5-wave move down. This is a wave 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And for some reason, the semis are going to start correcting, right? And that's what the chart's going to be if we can't break the new all-time, if we can't break the all-time highs. I think, we got a good shot at it since we're so close. But Apple today got hammered pretty hard, I would have to say. We got pretty close to the all-time highs on Apple again. And did we make a new all-time high, or did we just double top? I'm curious. We did make an all-time high, but it just wicked and it sold off pretty heavily afterwards. And then it gapped down today. Not too sure what the news was. Meta's still inside of this wave 4. I think it needs another 5th wave, right? I think it needs to go higher. Although, you could pull back a little bit deeper. It's been an extended wave 3. And Tesla right now is in this wave 4. Probably needs a little bit lower to go, and then bounce in a bigger wave 2, and then go lower afterwards. But yeah, the semis. Let's take a look at the semis. The semis are strong. There's nothing wrong. The semis actually were up 6 basis points today, but didn't do much. I thought we were actually going to get a rally back up. Maybe it needs to consolidate more before we start to rally back up in this 5th wave. X wave could also come to an end early as well, right? Because you have technical minimum requirements met for the C wave. So you could easily start to reverse down, but I'm not in any trades on the semis right now. If it gets into this area, I'm going to pull the trigger on it for sure. Let's take a look at the TLT. So the TLT bounced nicely here. Again, I think the TLT is in danger of breaking down here. And if really this is just too big of a corrective move. This whole cycle has come to an end. We're probably going to rally back up or chop, maybe hit this trend line, and then start to a big reversal down. And for me, that would mean that the yields, you see how they're holding at this downsloping trend line too? To me, that would mean that the yields are going to get ready for a new cycle higher, which means inflation's coming back. Obviously, it's a lot of speculation right now because none of this has laid out, and everything and everyone is talking about rates going lower and deflation and all this, yada, yada, yada. But the chart is the chart, and that's what the chart is saying right now to me. The chart is saying, shit, man, inflation might be coming back. DXY is strengthening right now, like a crazy amount. It's getting really strong, probably because the Chinese are printing so much money, trying to avoid recession or something, and they're trying to print their way out of it with massive stimulus, but I don't think it's working, and it's starting to bleed into assets, right? If it's not starting already, it's going to bleed into commodities, right, and probably equities as well. But it won't help in the long term. It's just short term pain relief. It's like like morphine. It feels good in the moment, but once it wears off, man, oh man, does it feel bad. Yeah, not too bullish on that. So keep an eye on the dollar, and keep an eye also on the USD JPY pair. Again, that is still a very big mover here. I told you guys if this flat's gonna play out, then you're gonna want to be really careful about getting into some super heavy long positions in the market, because if it hits this area, I believe that we're gonna get a major reversal down here on the USD JPY. You're gonna see the Japanese yen strengthen again, and it's gonna put immense pressure on equities. Maybe you're gonna see part 2 of the carry trade. Everyone doesn't really care about it anymore because it's not on the news, but it's still a very big catalyst for a potential sell-off too. So please, for love of God, pay attention to this. Don't just think that the market is at all-time highs. It doesn't matter. We're everyone's very I would just say everyone's very complacent, and I'm playing more on the defensive side than the offensive side. I am very defensive right now. I'm not getting into super max heavy longs, QQQs, super high leverage. It's not for me right now. It may be for you, and you think you're super right and super correct, and you're a genius, and everyone that didn't long is stupid. But hey, that's good for you, man. Palantir ended up playing out in this fifth wave, so we were counting this whole count on the way up, and it's coming. It's possibly coming to an end. Let's get on the larger time frames. Monthly, not enough data. Weekly, did we overthrow this pivot here? Where do I have it from? This wave 3. Yeah. Oh man, you may actually have extended the wave 3 right there. This wave 3 has now extended. So there you go. Whoops. Larger cycle wave 3 after this massive pump. Now what you need is a pullback to balance it all out, right? So you need a wave 4. You need a wave 4, but just be careful because this wave 3 is coming to an end, right? It's already reversing on the weekly. The daily also has confirmation of bearish divergence. You need to be careful because a lot of people think that you're going to get a wave 3 top and it's just going to be another dip to buy and you were going to get a fifth wave. The wave 4 or 5 is never guaranteed by ES Elliott wave strategy. So, you know, it's never guaranteed. And you can easily just be in a corrective cycle, like an ABC down and then another ABC up, and it's a massive WXY for us to go lower. So you never know how these long-term charts are going to play out, and that's why you got to be nimble with your trades. You can't just go crazy ball to the wall. Sometimes it pays off, but sometimes it could blow up your account, and you really don't want to do that. Right now we're in a parabolic move, and when the curve usually comes to an end like this, it usually tends to break back down unless you consolidate and you can extend the move higher, right? You consolidate, you chop sideways, the curve can extend, right? Because it widens the curve up. Okay, so just a tidbit for you guys who are in Palantir, take some profits. It's not a bad idea. We'll take a look here at AMD. So AMD is not doing too much. Again, it hit my sell area. Beautiful reversal from there. I think what you're starting now is an impulse down. Since this move was so, heavy and you broke the daily cycle, you can see this cycle's over. So you're going to see some downside coming. So maybe you bounce up after this upsloping trend line down here, bounce back up, but ultimately you see more downside. And it can lead to truncations, right? If the semis just start selling off like crazy, Taiwan semi has earnings tomorrow, I believe, and the semis just go crazy and start selling off, then maybe you don't hit this level and the semis just start exploding down. For now, I don't see any cycle breaks in the semis. On the weekly, we do have a cycle break, and I told you guys to be careful too because the weekly cycle break, excuse me, has finished, and now you're possibly getting ready to dump, and that could be weeks of selling if it's a really like that bear market that everyone's talking about. But again, I'm talking about a lot of bearishness and a lot of bullishness. If you guys want to know what I'm doing, you can just join the Discord. I share my trades every day there, and I share my day trades and my swing trades in this market. Nat gas not doing too much. Gold, silver still chopping about. But yeah. Let's take a look at Mara real quick. I want to wrap it up with these crypto stocks. So Mara is extending the wave 2 here. So Mara and Bitcoin are at such an inflection point now. You're either going to get a massive crash, massive dump down in Mara, which is possible, although the RSI is showing that we should actually be in a 1-2-1-2 setup for much higher prices. But if it were to dump, then that's all she wrote. Like this is gonna go down so hard, and you're gonna see a lot of crypto stocks get hammered. MicroStrategy is gonna get hammered, and Bitcoin's gonna get hammered. But you have a lot of divergences in this market. You got MicroStrategy making all-time highs before Bitcoin is at all-time highs. So it's really strange to see that. So are we going to see Bitcoin dump? Are we going to see, the stock market dump? Right now we're at resistance on Bitcoin. So what does that tell you, right? So what do you think you should do? Should you take profits? Should you? Why Buy the dip right now. Should you FOMO? Me, it's like side. It's always like when it's not a when the probabilities aren't in your favor, it's a no trade setup for me. All right, something's going on with my throat. So I'm gonna end the video here, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.